Hello and welcome to today's special episode. Whether you're tuning in from your office, your commute, or your favorite coffee spot, we are thrilled to have you with us. Today, we've got an inspiring leader whose work sits right at the intersection of business growth, people strategy, and culture transformation. Our guest today is an HR visionary with over 15 years of cross industry experience, currently serving as the Chief People Officer and Vice President, People Operations and Business Growth at Ergode, based in Mumbai. Recognized as the top HR mind by World HRD Congress and a global speaker for hacking HR. Shivendra Pratap Singh, welcome to today's podcast.
Thank you, Puneet. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for you and the team for connecting, and I'm glad that I'm here to be able to extend and share whatever I have learned so far. I have been to different kind of experiences, be it education experience, so sales, business development, and marketing, and then eventually I got into recruiting, and then got into this organization called Ergode, and I've been there for last more than 10 years, and this have been a journey full of highs and lows, but eventually what matters is that you never give up and you just focus and
Yes.
achieve the objective. That's what eventually matters by all the means. So yeah, that's how things have been with all these backgrounds. Eventually, I'm here taking care of people operations, corporate communications, as well as business growth through these functions at Ergod.
Wonderful. So, what's the biggest shift you have witnessed in how organizations approach talent in the last 5 years?
Oh, that's a great question, and specifically these 5 years also include this pandemic time, right?
Yes.
That's where things changed. Paradigm shift happened. So I remember those days when the talent used to be, you know, rare thingy, which is always gonna be there for any of the HR professionals to find the right guy for the right seat for the right time. I see that what has changed is because of specifically because of this pandemic situation that happened, technology got adopted like anything ever happened before, and that's where the situation came into wherein we were not very comfortable with online meeting, virtual discussions, and all that, and then everybody started building their comfort with the technology, be it presenting virtually, or be it talking, having very crucial meetings, decisive meetings as well, virtually. So that is something which has happened from talent perspective, that talent had to be evolving much faster than they did over the decades before the pandemic. Everybody got to know all kind of online tools that are available to conduct meeting, to manage larger gathering and all that.
Agreed.
Everybody was just on it. So that is how one key thing that I would say, that in last 5 years, one more thing that revolutionized the whole industry is of course the artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is something right now we think that it came in 2021, 22, or 23 for that matter. But these guys, I mean, we know that on the background, everybody have been working on that for possibly more than a decade to come up with something like this now, which is a finished product. And when ChatGPT, got out, it was possibly MVP for entire public to use it. So now, when it is there, complete shift has happened, and this is the time when, which is kind of alarming situation for the talent, to ensure that we don't live in a denial mode of this artificial intelligence, like stenographers did at the time of introduction of
Computers.
the computers.
Yeah.
Everything that used to happen in 5 years is happening now in 5 months. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. So, AI is transforming the HR landscape for sure. But how is it
100%.
transforming the recruitment piece of it? In your view, how will you see that the role has fundamentally changed in the last 5 years, and how will it evolve in the next 5 years?
Absolutely, sure. So I'll give a couple of use cases that we have tried since AI got into the picture. So when this chat GPT or any kind of LLM that came into the picture, be it Claude, be it Yup, or be it any other LLM that got into the picture, everybody started finding out that how do we use it? And what happened is, I'm not talking about agents right now, I'm only talking about this LLM model. So uh, what happened that you possibly just go ahead and create a single thread which is dedicated to a particular role. Let's say, for example, I want to hire for talent management professional. So I would just go ahead, and this is, I'm talking about a year back or two, right? That you just go ahead and create a separate thread, a dedicated thread. You upload the role that you want it to understand, and then start sharing the resumes that you have. Of course, it will try and understand based on the intelligence and the LLM working. It will try and understand which resume is going to be better for you or for this role. And specifically, what happens is it does not only matches just the keywords, it also runs the algorithm on the background to understand something that is also not on the resume, which is read between the lines. For example, somebody has skipped the date for particular employment. We generally miss it, but AI is not going to miss it. So some of these things, and it will populate those questions for you to be able to ask and get the answers for when you're talking to the candidate actually. So this is about working with any LLM, and that's a basic one. That's a basic one that started happening. The and then what happened is, I'm not very sure if it is publicly known, but recently, possibly 4 to 5 months back, it was there was something that was in the news about a very famous company, well-known company. I'll possibly not name it, but what they did, they developed a model for talent acquisition, of course, to identify the right talent. And what happened is that after multiple experiments, maybe over the period of 1 quarter, they realized that something is wrong. It is biased more towards male than the female. And then what happened? That audit started. Okay, what's happening? We need to find out. And then eventually, when these guys went to the background and audited, it's kind of forensic audit as to what happened, right? And then they found out the bunch of people that were actually working to develop this model, majority of those were male. And that's where it happened that so it's not the fault of AI, it's the fault of input. It's something that we give to AI to for it to make sense out of, and then eventually go ahead and give us the output. If there are 10 males and possibly just 4 females, things would matter much because everybody's experience. But minds work differently, right? It's like fingerprints. I just wanted to add a kind of glimpse in terms of that how your input is going to be very, very important, how you work with AI in terms of recruiting. So now this was basic one. Another one, a little bit of advanced, that's already there. So I can possibly give a tool that people can use. This is something that I've experienced myself as it's called Juice Box. Now, Juicebox is kind of it's an agentic AI. It's built by someone, and this is something wherein it does the sourcing and scouting of the leads for you across the platforms. You do not need to go on LinkedIn and find out, okay, this person is my competition. This person is good. Let's go and find out. You explain it, and it will start finding out, and it will start giving you the list, and it will give you the bunch of kind of demo profiles, and then you say yes or no, that okay, this one is matching to my expectation, this one is not matching. And then what it'll do, it will then accordingly start throwing in the profiles that we want more likely, and the more you train it, the better it becomes at it. And then it also has an agent that's integrated in it, that it will send emails to all these candidates, auto. You just have to set it one time, of course, and then it will send an email to all these candidates that have been shortlisted, and it will also do the follow up with the people who have not
Oh,
responded.
wow.
So some of these things, it's like basic recruiting. You can simply just automate it with agentic AI. I'm not talking about LLM. I'm talking about agentic AI. So that's what can be completely automated, and I'm sure many of and juice box is just one. It's like people GPT is something, that's what they call under the juice box, and there are many other tools that you can create your own agents these days. I would love to talk about that, how I and my team have vibe coded softwares like LMS
Wow.
internally without any help of the technology team. It's something about that when you start learning about vibe coding, and vibe coding is for anybody who knows zero about coding, zilch. That's what it
Okay.
is, and that's what the fun is all about. Just to add about 5 years more, I think that we are going to have a lot of these bots, which is going to be sitting. You will not need. I mean, this is so hurtful that we may feel, but eventually, the humans will always find ways for them to be useful and contribute to, of course, growth of organization. In next 5 years is what I see, Puneet, is that full right now these bots are glitching a lot. These bots, it's like I am presented on the screen, so my clone would be on the screen and then asking you all the questions, and then you answering very naturally, very naturally. We are doing it already, but it's not that natural. It comes like a bot, but that is something that's going to happen. And also, like I said, data input is going to be very important, because every organization has different DNA, and it has to be fed well to that particular AI that you are willing to use. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Do you think that brings in a very important question? Will resumes be outdated in the coming years? Because do they give clear picture right now as well, or not? That's something we need to question. And will they be outdated? What will replace? How would AI create a next level kind of an interface?
That's a great question, and there's something funny about it. So Puneet, I'll tell you. I mean, I must appreciate the way you have framed this question. So nowadays it's like everybody wants to use LLM, right?
Yeah.
AI, and everybody is going, and at least the people who are using it and who are like habitual to it and they know how AI works, most of the candidates are asking AI to modify their resume according to the role that they're applying for.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, employer is using AI to screen those resumes, right? So AI, now what's happening is that more than a person screening a person, it's happening. AI is screening an AI, right?
It's a AI
And
interface.
that's how things are happening. Yeah, it's a AI interface. I mean, world is completely transforming gradually.
Yeah.
So now it becomes very important. It becomes very important that we are now bound to go beyond resume, because resumes can be modified, built extensively, whatever it is. It's like I remember Jack Welch from GE time, back in 80s and 90s for General Electrics. He used to say that when there's a candidate that he hired and it didn't work out, and people used to say that, I'm sorry, dear. I think I hired your resume, but I ended up working with you. So
That's a good one.
resume, yeah. And Jack Welch was somebody who was known as Neutron Jack.
Yeah.
He kind of laid off a lot of people at that point in time. I'm sure that most of the audience would relate to it. But the point is, coming back to this, that resume is something that will just become as good as a visiting card or possibly business card. For example, I know many companies, and my friends in different companies who are heading HR, CHROs, and reporting to CEOs. They have seen, and specifically involved in executive hiring, leadership hiring, they have kind of stopped looking at resumes, so-called resumes. They're simply looking at the LinkedIn profile that's available, because there are many leaders who are possibly have been working for 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, and they do not care about making resume. Who makes those these days? Specifically, I'm talking about leadership roles. So then that's where you have to just go through, scan, and understand LinkedIn profile, and some of the factors like you need to go through all these recommendations that have been received for that person on the LinkedIn, and then let the AI keep a check on it that okay, fair enough. To me, resume is just going to be a piece of paper informing you that this person belongs to this demography, and all these details are there, basic details are there. But in the interview and in the basic analytical screening that you do, or AI does for you, is going to be very, very important. It's like analyzing behavioral aspect, because that's eventually forms a competency, right? It's like how you behave, what are your traits. Eventually those are the things that are going to decide how well you're going to do the job.
So is the role of recruiter going to be redundant? And if I look on the flip side, what measures as an organization we should take, that we get the right blend, the right kind of a person for our organization? Because you said, rightly said, that AI is taking over, and it's an interaction between AI and AI.
Right, right. So that's very thoughtful question, Puneet. And so I would, my answer to that would be this: that recruiter, any recruiter, even I am a recruiter today. No matter which label you are, you're always a recruiter. Once a
I
recruiter
agree.
is always a
Always a
recruiter.
recruiter.
Right, right. So so the point is that a recruiter has to come out of this word called recruiter, because it is much more beyond it.
Agreed.
What happens is, when you are assigned with a responsibility to recruit a talent for a particular role that is responsible to contribute to the business growth in a particular fashion, it becomes very important for that recruiter to understand the business and the role, what this person is going to sit and do for whole day there. For
Agreed.
example, for some of the profiles, I simply go and ask that person who is willing to hire, that okay, fair enough, tell me what exactly this person will do every day. Give me a data, give me a log. Somebody used to work on this, okay, fair enough, give me a log, what exactly this person does every minute. I'm okay with that. It's about understanding that what exactly this person is supposed to do. So when we understand that what exactly this role is for, then we start connecting, okay, these kind of skills are required, these kind of knowledge, this kind of knowledge base is required for this person to have, this kind of experience is required for this person to have. So what happens when now, possibly talent acquisition was a new word introduced after the recruiting, but now it's more about talent partner. For example, one of my, I'll give you this point. I got to know from one of my friends that he suggested that he was recruited. How he was recruited. So let's say X company is there, and there's a competition to X, which is Y company. So the recruiter of X company went to the LinkedIn profile of Y company's CEO and founder, and then he checked that who all he had recommended, means given the recommendation on LinkedIn. And then he found out, okay, fair enough, that if my competing CEO is giving the recommendation of these recommendation to these people must be very good. So let's go ahead and find out who these guys are, and they could be good for our business too. So some of
Nice
these,
strategy. Yeah.
the recruiters,
Yeah.
yeah, the recruiters have to be a lot more creative, and the creativity will flow only when you understand that how your business is making money, what are the skills that you need to contribute to bottom or top line. And that is where is something, that's when business guys also start kind of being on the same page with you. It's more like no more relationship of hiring manager and a talent acquisition head and all that, because that's when you become partner and work together to find out that okay, these are the kind of what kind of talent and where we can find it. So a lot of creativity that has to flow, but only when we have that mindset shift from recruiting to talent partnering for the business. That's what I think about it.
So we'll come to the present context. AI is inflating resumes and online profiles. Is trust eroding in candidate information? How is this impacting the hiring? What safeguards are needed to ensure genuine assessments of these profiles?
That's a very critical question these
Yeah.
days. I mean, I have also been trying to find out the solution to it. So, number one, the matter of fact is that AI is here to stay. That's for sure.
Agreed. Yeah.
And as fast as possible we accept that, it's going to be better for the organization. Now, what's happening is, for example, let's say, uh, you know, I'm just giving you a context and an example that how AI is becoming a part of skill or knowledge. Is that, for example, let's say if right now Zomato goes out there and wants to hire a delivery agent, so they would say, somebody who has a bike should be able to apply for this, fair enough, other than any other skill that they need. So bike is something that's given, which is needed for this role.
Agreed.
Now, similarly, what's happening is that AI skill is now given for every role that's there in the market.
Agreed.
So whenever now at least most of my profiles now will read that you should understand the basic AI. You should have used the basic AI. If not, of course, we can train you on that. That's not a problem. But the point is, AI is here to stay, and we have to adopt to it. Now, coming to the challenge of how do we confront these AI modified resumes or AI modified assessments and all that. Now, for this, we will actually need to go beyond AI and beyond just standard practices of screening. So, for example, some of the profiles, what we do is that we give a real piece of work, and it's a real time. Okay, for example, if somebody is joining as I'm just giving a basic example, right? If somebody is joining for that matter MIS, all right, MIS executive or MIS specialist, we will give them, so they are sitting right in front of us, or possibly if they're on the screen, we'll give them a data that's already there, and that's given to them, and out of that ocean of data, they have to create an MIS in terms of insights and observations and challenges and solution, proposed solution, and everything. Now, when that happens, of course, our tool kind of looks at their screen. It's like it is recording. So if somebody is opening anything else other than the document that they are supposed to, of course, this will record and we'll get to know. Now the point is that the person has to actually work on, and they cannot open anything. Of course, they can keep a mobile next to them. That is still a challenge that possibly I'm not sure how soon we will solve. But at the same time, when somebody has to work on the Excel, on the data, you get to know, and the video screen is getting recorded, you get to know whether or not they are actually using some help or not. Because if they are thinking about it, you understand, okay, they're putting in, and of course, there's a timer for it, for them to complete the assessment. And it's a basic assessment for anybody who's actually experienced in MIS. So somebody, if they're trying to fake it, we understand this was just an example. For customer service, similarly, there would be a mock call, simple mock call. It's like you are there on the call, or fair enough, I am the customer, let's talk about it. Or possibly I am the customer, I am sending you an email right now, and you have to answer it right now in front of me. Your screen is shared. And some of these things, when you share a real piece of work that they are supposed to do once they are on the job, and they are performing it real time in front of you, that's where it becomes very important for us to keep an eye. Now, when we are hiring people in bunch, for example, let's say you're recruiting 100, 250, 500 people at at a certain level. Of course, then you need to have these kind of mechanism. For example, this Metal is there, and then Zoom is also there, that it can identify if somebody is looking here and there, and all those things are there. But still, I would say, no matter what, any tool that has been introduced, there are still ways that people can definitely modify and cheat things about, deceive it. We, as a fraternity of HR or business fraternity, we have to continue to evolve at the same pace candidate is evolving themselves. So that's what I would say for now. Miles to go.
So beyond skills, what are the primary reasons for these mismatches? Uh, People fail, they then become redundant in an organization. Uh, what do you think are the primary reasons?
So let me just put across if I understood your questions is question properly. So what your question is that if people are failing in their performance even after all the thoroughly
Yes.
assessed people are given the job, then other than a skill or beyond the skill, what exactly,
Is
what else
required.
could be the
Yes,
reason?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, what I understand is one thing that we have worked out of our experience. That's what I would speak. So, there is something that we have done is skill passport. I'm talking about right now skill, but I'll go beyond it as well. Skill passport for every employee,
Hmm.
so that we have a bank of skills.
Hmm.
More than employees, it's like bank of skills that you got.
Hmm.
Eventually, that skill is asset to the company, right?
Yeah.
So if you suppose if there's any project across the organization, no matter which function it is, and you can simply what are the skills required, you can simply go to the skill bank and you can find out who are the people who have those certain skills. Now, uh, having skills and still people getting failed or not able to do, not able to enjoy the work,
Hmm.
that actually can have multiple reasons. I would say number one reason uh, is it's about this that there are people I have seen, and it's so unfortunate, Puneet, that you'd be able to relate to it. That there are talent just getting wasted,
I agree. I
and
agree.
it's like they are so talented. They are so talented that once they put their mind to it, they'll make sure that they'll do the best than anybody else could do. Now, but at the same time, similar, some of these people or talent would possibly go off the radar like this, that you would not find them. Okay, where are you? And then you try to understand if somebody is not enjoying their work, what are the things? I mean, one could be that somebody simply does not want to work here anymore, right? That's okay. They possibly want to change their domain, which is not available in this organization. They want to go out, that's okay. But at the same time, if somebody says that I have not got enough training, I do not have good relationship with my boss and all that, and then that's where we as human resources professional have to get into it and understand how do we go ahead and help that person fix it. So consistency is something that can only be maintained when you have rewards available, and which is like spot rewards available for the people who are working hard, and for the people who are achieving the things that you want them to. So when you set a reward system, and it could be as tiny as a simple note from reporting manager.
Companies invest in employer branding, but often there is a disconnect with the actual employee experience. So, how can organization ensure that their brand genuinely reflects their culture and attracts truly aligned candidates?
That's a very tough question, I must say, for any leader to answer, or for any organization. But yes, we as many organization, we as leaders have accepted and has to accept it, have to accept it. Why? Because it's like I simply going and writing something else on my social media handles, and behaving or treating my employees in just opposite 180-degree manner. It's not going to work out anymore. It's something that people possibly were able to get away with when there was not much of social media, and not much of everything,
Yeah.
wherein everything was not that open. But now it's high time that you understand. I mean, we have to understand as leaders that there's nobody else other than our own employees, our own associates, who are our brand ambassadors.
Agreed.
And as soon as we realize it, we have to take the feedback from our brand ambassadors. Of course, we cannot make 100% of them happy. Let's accept it. That's a fact.
I agree.
And we cannot be 100% happy place as well. It's like you go to Twitter, you go to any other organization that's ranked number one. I'm sure that there are still many people who would say, no, I'm not happy here, and leaving. It's like, it's as simple as that. So what happens is that we have to literally understand from our brand managers that what is it that you're looking for. And for example, in our organization, we conduct ENPS, which is Employee Net Promoter Score, to simply understand that what people are feeling, and if they would go ahead and speak good about it, like what's working like here is. So when we understand that, okay, fair enough, this is possibly some of the things not working or people are not liking it, that's when you start understanding and taking the feedback with pinch of salt, and at least make sure that you implement some of those changes and then publish it. Most of the time, what happens is that execution part just goes on the background. So, for example, organization took the survey and then nobody knows what happened to that survey.
I agree.
That's when that's a utter waste of time and resources, that when nobody knows what happened to that survey. So
And they keep it on the back
and we
burner.
also have yeah, we keep it on the back burner, right? Most of the, and specifically when there are those tough ones, very high degree of decisions making, it goes on the back burner.
Yeah.
But for example, what we have also learned as an organization a hard time, that so what we have started doing, that with all these survey, whatever results that we have got, so we identify, let's say, easy fixes, very tough fixes, whatever it is, and then whatever changes that we do, we go ahead and publish it. That, okay, fair enough, we heard you, these are things that we were able to do, and we have to be very transparent. I mean, people know everything. We might think, sitting on the top, that people do not know anything. They know everything in terms of what's good and what's not. So when they see that, even if it's as easy at a small fix, that, okay, fair enough, this was fixed, and they'd be happy. Okay, fair enough, the survey was done, execution was done, and some of these things are yet to be achieved, which organization is pondering upon, and they will definitely take the decision eventually. So people start being convinced, and then that's where they start participating more in the survey, because that the first challenge is making sure that majority of the people, at least 80% to 90% of people, should be participating, ideally 100%, but 80 to 90% of people should be participating in survey. But they start doing it when they see that we as an organization are actually executing the changes that we got
I
as
agree.
feedback from, and that's when it works out. And then no matter what you put on social media, then these guys, when they go out and put on their own social media, that becomes word of mouth, and that acts like magic. People start talking about you. Okay, fair enough, this is what it is, this is what it is, and all that. So that's what I would say. Employer branding has to be rooted to the ground, what's happening on the ground, and make sure it is connected. It's like something else happening on the floor and something else going on the social media. That's not going to work out anymore.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And with this Gen Z coming in, which is more demanding, uh, you know, uh, it's going to be different. So how do you perceive Gen Z, being getting involved into this AI driven hiring? Are they more skeptical, or are they too open to it, or what's the thought process?
That's very Gen Z question for sure. So I would say, my view on this categorization is a bit different, which may be, a kind of non-general view as well. So for me, somebody woke up someday, or some group woke up someday and started categorizing, okay, these are boomers, these are Gen X, Gen Alpha, Gen Y, and Gen Z, and all that. I simply do, I try and make sure that I do not look at it this way. For example, Puneet, you would know, right? Both of us know that our parents would say that, yeah, हमारा generation, next generation is smarter than us.
Yeah,
I mean, that has been happening for ages, centuries. Who knows, right? The next generation is always smarter because everything around them evolves as well. For example, technology evolves. For example, society evolves. Everything evolves. And then when that's happening, so for this categorization, I simply say that forget about this categorization. Look at the people with their mindset, whatever it is. I understand that categorizing things like Gen Z and Gen Alpha and all that makes it easier, but I understand. But don't think that it is something new. I mean, people were finding us difficult too when they got us in the job, when we were possibly in our 20s or 30s. People were saying, "Ye kaun sa generation, which generation is right now on the floor? I don't know what
I
what is the way
agree.
they think." Right, and then so similar, and then history is repeating itself, right, every time. So then now we're just facing what we did with our bosses, right? We are facing, okay, fair enough, this Gen Z, I don't know what kind of thinking that they have and all that, right? And so I would say understand that what are the things that have evolved. For example, every generation's needs were different at the different level. Most of the metro city, I mean, for example, if somebody says, I heard somebody saying in one of the conferences that I was co-panelist as, so and so somebody said that new generation, new Gen Z is about that their father have already built this roti, kapda, and makan, so they do not worry about roti, kapda, makan. They worry about cause, that what exactly the cause that they're working for. But for me, Gen Z is not just these metro cities fathers have. I understand that parents have built houses, properties and everything, roti kapla makan is already done, but go to tier 2, tier 3 cities, there are still these Gen Z's who are fighting to earn this roti kapda makan.
I agree. I
we
agree.
cannot just we cannot just categorize Gen Z on the basis of metro cities, that okay, their thought is different, so Gen Z, rest of the 80% of the India or 80% of the world who are possibly below poverty or at the mid level, their thought is also that. Right now there are so many Gen Z's, you and I would know, when go to these tier 2, tier 3 cities, and you would see, and these guys are still wanting to earn bread for their family. They are not thinking about what cause I am serving and all that, but their major focus is on that, how do I make sure that I get money at the end of the month so that I can take care of my family, I can take care of my ailing father, ailing mother, ailing family, or possibly in different ways. So that is what it is. Now, this is where the time is that we need to start thinking about it. That let's not generalize it across. Let's understand what's a mindset is. And for example, Puneet and Shivendra working in the similar role in maybe same organization would have different mindset.
I agree.
Doesn't matter if they come from same generation. So similarly, there are Gen Zs who will also be have to understood that everybody would have different mindset from where they come from and all that. What eventually is going to happen, that I mean, this is what I feel. What eventually is going to happen, that like all other generations in the past, we will also understand that what is the mindset that's coming, and then there's a transition period. Right now there's a transition period with Gen Z, teething issues, right? We all feel that okay, fair enough, teething issues are there, but eventually when we start, right now our previous generation and us are on like on the same role. Okay, fair enough, what used to happen is not happening anymore. So it's just a matter of time. Of course, one thing, in fact, I would say on the contrary, Puneet, that I must say it, that out of all the instances that I've seen, the older generation is going to be very much more effective with AI technology than the Gen Z would be. And the upcoming generation, that upcoming generation, for example, this, whatever this categorization for the very new babies that are getting born now, what's happening is that they would never be smarter than the generation of Gen Z or our generation, because they would grow with AI.
I
So
agree.
they would possibly be as smart as AI, or possibly less smarter than AI, but they would not be more. I mean, they'd not be more intelligent than AI until we kind of decide and try and make sure that this is what is the kind of society that we want to build, wherein we just don't get dependent on AI. So that's what I would say, that we should stop thinking from categorization of generations. We should start thinking from what's the mindset that's on the table, that we have to work with, and then work with every person separately, whatever it is. That's what I would say, yeah.
What's your biggest advice for CHROs looking to integrate AI into their HR hiring process?
Oh, that's actually a good one. So, uh, I would say just one thing, that we as CHROs have to just be very cognizant that AI is the way forward. And this unfortunate situation, Puneet, that I still see some of us saying that fair enough, we have time, we'll implement it, we'll learn it. No, we are already late. We are
Yes,
already
I
too late
agree.
if we are thinking that we'll learn it. Let me give one kind of future organization structure which is very important for every CHRO to know. So, at least in my opinion. So, for example, so far the organizational structure is like CEO and founder, who has all these heads of functions: CHRO, CFO, CMO, CBOs, CSO, CGO, and all those sales, marketing, all those functional heads. And then there are teams under them: manager, senior manager, general manager, and all those directors are there. Now, out of all these people, there used to be only one generalist. There is right now also. There's only one generalist, that the CEO. CEO has to act like generalist.
Yes.
CEO has to know finance. CEO has to know HR. CEO has to know every function, sales, marketing, everything. Now, in upcoming time, what's going to happen is that all of these functional heads have to transform themselves also to be a generalist with AI. So it's like generalist with AI, because with AI it does not matter if you did not study marketing, if you did not study how to do sales. With AI, you have a person, you have a an experienced person who's possibly 30 years, 50 years, who knows what, right? With AI, you can get anything done.
I
So
agree.
all of these functional head will have to become AI generalist, and then below them, of course, there would be team humans and all that, and then there would be, along with those people below these CXOs, would be working AI agents. That's something that we have to be ready for very soon. That's going to happen in some organization, that's already happening. So recently I read it somewhere in McKinsey's report that they said that by 2030, at least 30 to 40% of the current workload is going to be automated with the with help of agentic
I
AI
agree.
for 100% for sure. So when that is happening, we as CHRO have to understand that no matter if it is recruiting or any other function, it is also going to be impacted by this particular revolution. And when this revolution is happening, it is very important for us ourselves become AI evangelist and AI generalist first. And the moment when we start understanding AI's usage or AI's impact on the businesses, I am sure that I'm telling you, Puneet, that once I started vibe coding, I know zero. I have zero knowledge about coding. When I started vibe coding, I got addicted to it, because when you see, and you have to be very careful when it comes to addiction, but when you start working with AI in any of these functions, you understand and you get so fascinated. Oh wow,
Mm.
is this really happening? And when you start seeing use cases and instances, then that's where you find your own way for recruiting, to set up your own AI agents with N8, and some of the tools that I can share is N8, and then there is Zapier that can define your workflow with the, and you can use the multiple LLMs or agents over there for it to work on any of these recruiting practices that you have in your organization. I would say any CHRO, if you're listening this, go ahead and create one agent on your own. Try working on it. I'm sure it will take possibly once, twice, thrice, and once you make it, you will go like boom. Fair enough. This is one done, and you'll be surprised that you can so easily build all these things. And once you do it, you can create different use cases for the recruiting function, that okay, these are the things that I can do. So I would say get started, because most of the time we just things get delayed only because we don't get started.
Yeah,
The moment we get started, oh, it was easy, yeah. So that's what I
I
would say.
agree. So, one myth, one last question. One myth that you'd like to debunk about AI in recruitment, and what would it be?
So one myth that I would like to debunk is is going is going to be that AI is like we discussed, right? That it's no more a human assessing human. It's AI assessing AI, right? So it's like, if you think, if there's a myth in your mind that AI will filter out the candidates best for me, please remember the other side is also AI. So that is a myth we got to come out of. That AI will take care of filtering process. Even 80%, if you think, then not 80%, until and unless you go and make it, train it in such a manner that it has understood the challenges that you've been facing. So this is what I would say, that come out of the myth that AI would do 100% of the work for you. 20% is something that always have to be there. Right now, 80% of the time that you have to spend is training it when you're working on AI.
I agree.
So that's what I would say.
I think, viewers, a lot of takeaways from this discussion today. And, if you are missing on the AI bandwagon right now, you are really doing it. You can't procrastinate. You have to start from somewhere, and you'll start loving it. And that's really
Right,
important.
right.
And things are changing. There's going to be a AI interface, but you'll have to. outplay. You still have to be smart. That 20% is going to create the difference. So that's what I take away. It has been a great learning, and that brings us to the end of this truly insightful conversation, Shivendra.
Wow.
Thank you for
Never got
sharing
the
your
track of the
wisdom.
time.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us today. Simply brightened your day, I suppose. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more. Thanks, Shivendra. Thanks, viewers.
Thank you, Puneet. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Take care. Have a
Bye.
good day.